Hey guys, this is CG Animator, and this is the first video of a large set of videos I'm going to be making for ZBrush. And it's a really great sculpting and partial texturing application. It's very fun to use, and I'm going to be making at least as many as I did for Blender. So yeah, a lot of people have ZBrush, and should explore it more. It's really worth the money, and it's a standard in almost all major companies right now. So if you're serious about animation, there's no question that you have to get ZBrush. And so this is what you see when you open ZBrush. I have ZBrush 3.1. It's kind of outdated. The current release is 3.5 release 3. So I'm going to be getting that very soon, but for now I'm just using this. So this is what you see when you first start up. Usually you have a bunch of other things here like demo head and demo soldier and stuff, but these are things that I have opened. Now this blinking here is what you see when you see a ZScript in action, and that's what this is here. So if you don't want to select anything right now, so just press escape and you go here. You could have pressed other if you wanted to also make this full screen here. So this is what you see when you first get in here. You go and left click and you see this, and you paint on the surface, and it looks like a painting application, and it partially is. It's 2.5D and 3D, and by what I mean with 2.5D is that it stores Z depth, which is the depth here. You can see it coming up, see? So, and that's what I mean by that. So this is right now, these are just pixels. I could have as much of anything as I wanted right now. It wouldn't slow down the computer or change at all. It's just RGB information in the pixels. So there's a lot of 2.5D brushes here. If we select this as our tool palette, so go ahead and select snake hook brush just to try it out here, and you can left click and drag and do little squigglies here. I don't know why I said squigglies, but I did. So now you have all this here, and you want to clear it. How do you do that? You just go up here to color and clear, or you could just press, hold on, let me show you. You could just press Control N for the hotkey. It's very important to learn the hotkeys, so that when you're actually in, during sculpting, and you don't want to have to go to every menu, you can just press a button and it happens, and it really, it's worth learning. So now, oops, sorry, this is my own work here. I have the brush palette here. Since you work with brushes in ZBrush, I'm just going to put this away. I'll talk about more stuff like that later. I'm going to make two parts here for the navigation, since it's kind of a lot to cover. So let's go ahead and put in our 3D object, since I just need to show you guys the basics right now, just the fundamentals, so you can start navigating. So select tool, and these are our primitives, our startup meshes. So let's go ahead and select this star here, and nothing happened even though we selected it. So but what we have to do here is we have to left click and drag it in. Now you might think, oh, I want to rotate it around, but you can't yet because it's still 2.5D information. So we just keep drawing these in, and we could put in 1,000,000 of these if we wanted. It wouldn't change anything. It's just RGB information at this point, and we want to make this 3D, vertices, and well, not vertices, but polygons and things like that. That's what you mainly deal with here in ZBrush, is polygons. So what you have to do is you want to draw one. Oh, and by the way, you cannot access these after they've been drawn in a second time. Once you draw in a new thing, those are dead pixels. You cannot edit them unless with the 2.5D brushes. So you just draw in the primitive, go over here to edit, and that makes it live, and you can actually rotate this around. So that's cool. But we have all this stuff in the background. So like I said, just press Control N. We'll go to color, clear. Now to my Blender subscribers, sorry about my voice there. But to my Blender subscribers, you might want to look at a couple of these tutorials even if you don't have ZBrush, because Blender 2.5 is going to have some sculpting capabilities, so it might be useful to see some techniques and such things like that. Let me just check how far in we are here. Okay, so now if you want to move around, all you have to do is left click in the free space. If you left click on it, you will carry the function that is in the brush. This is the brush here. But let me just Control Z that. That's how you undo things. Control Z, you know, standard. That's every program basically right now. It's Control Z to undo things. So you just rotate around like this. But let's say you want to center it. You want to move it around. Yeah, so you don't go up to move, scale, or rotate to do things like that. We'll get into that later at some point. But if what you want to do is you want to either go to move here, click this and move it where you want. And same for scale and rotate. But if you don't want to have to go here, and believe me, you don't, it just slows things down. So rotate, you just click on the outside or the free space. To move it, you just hold Alt and click on the free space. Now to scale, this is a little tricky, it takes some timing. So you just hold Alt, click, move it around, and you let go of Alt. You always keep the left mouse button held, and that's how you do it. And you can scale it and stuff like that. It's a little tricky, I know, but you know, you get the hang of it. I haven't even been using this for 3 weeks, but I bought a DVD, Introduction to ZBrush 3. Very good. It was 7 hours. I finished it in a day. It was really great. And yeah, so there's not a lot that I already don't know, because you know, it's very familiar to me because Blender has such an unorthodox menu as this does, so it wasn't really that hard to adapt for me. So now if you want to, let's say you make this very small and you just bring it over to the corner, you don't want to have to rotate, scale up, and move it around just to get it here. You just want to press a button. So just bring it over here and you just press F to frame it. Simple as that. Okay, so now let's get into the brushes really quick. Here are your sets. Here's your set of brushes. You can add brushes, and I added one, the Damien standard brush, and that's what I use for my veins and stuff like that. But we'll get into that later. Sorry about my voice, it's kind of late, and you know how it is. But so let's go into the move brush here, and I want to scale my brush up, so let's go increase the draw size, or press S to bring up this little menu here. And all I have to do is left click on the model. We can see, or the mesh, we can see this little red dot. That means if you don't see that, you're not pressing anything. So if we try to click now, you get this here, just moving polygons around and stuff like that. Okay, but if we were to add a 3D sphere and try that, it would say we can't because it's still a 3D primitive. This is a polymesh 3D. This is a 3D polymesh, and we can edit this. You have to have this like this if you want to edit it. So if you want to make your primitive a 3D polymesh or polymesh 3D, just click Make Polymesh 3D, and you just get sculpting. And here's the standard brush. This is what it starts with, and all this does is I just press S to change that. It either pushes out or pulls out, or see Z add, it just pushes out. Z sub, it pushes in. Simple as that. You see it's very blocky. In the next part I'll show you how to up the geometry. But yeah, and if you don't wanna have to go back and forth with these, all you have to do is go to Z add to pull out, and then hold Alt, and you see this little minus right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's right on the brush where the cursor is. And you just hold Alt to do that. So yeah. So that's all you really need right now to get, you know, sculpting really basically. And then in the next part we'll go a little bit deeper, and then we'll keep going from there. So thanks for watching this part, and be sure to watch the future parts. Okay, so thanks guys. Bye.